Hey, 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 y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Reset with Dr. J. This is where we take those WTF moments and we turn them into breakthroughs. So I'm your host, Dr. Jordan. Um, I'm an Army vet, I'm a therapist, and this week, I've been a very tired hotel guest in Biloxi, Mississippi. So shout out to anybody if you're tuning in from there or locally around there. Um, I flew in to teach, to help coach a 5-day EMDR basic training with a wonderful trainer. Flight delays had me walking into my hotel room at 2:30 in the morning. 2:30 in the morning. I was so tired and I still had to be up in that training room ready to coach. And so, if I sound a little extra human today, that's why. That was a few days ago, but I'm still recovering from that. I just am like, where did my energy go? So, but yeah, like so in the training room this week, there's so many moments that happens during like training when you're training trauma therapist, and I was like thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, and that's what I want to talk to you about. So I watched a room full of licensed therapists, people who help others for a living, struggle to be beginners. There's a lot of like challenges that comes with learning something new. But also there's pressure when you're expected to be the expert or when you're the leader, and then you try to learn something new or you haven't done it in a while and you're learning something new, or you're used to doing things this way and you're learning something new. So I wanted to kind of touch on that topic because I feel like there's a lot of people that struggle to be beginners. And I'm thinking like that's everybody, maybe all of us. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But today I want to talk about what it actually means to be a beginner. Why is it so uncomfortable? Why is that discomfort? You know, why don't we think of that as good news? Maybe I'll change your mind. But I also want to give you three things that you can do to not run from it, essentially, right? So, this one is a little shorter today because I'm actually stepping away from training to record this. And but shorter doesn't mean lighter. So let's go. Quick reminder. I am a therapist, but I'm not your therapist. This is meant to just be a conversation, like literally conversational. It's not treatment. So if you are in crisis, though, I need you to call 988. 988, that hotline is available to you 24/7. So if it's 2 a.m., you can still give them a call. Also, 988 plus one equals military culture. So keep that in mind as well. If you are a vet like me, we want to call 988 plus one so that we can get someone who is trained in military culture. So there's that. Also, you can text it too. So if you're like, I don't feel like talking, but I would like a little extra support, text it, get you some extra support. I've been using PTSD Coach app for like meditations and different tools, and that's free to everybody. So I like to share that resource sometimes, because you can log in and I don't know if you just need a little, I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna try this tool. Try it. Let's see what happens. Okay. So let's get into the training room this week. Working with wonderful, wonderful people. These therapists really care about what they're doing. That's why they're here. And um, we're teaching EMDR. So that is eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. A lot of words, but it's a trauma therapy that requires you to actually practice on each other during training. So you don't just get to sit in a lecture. You have to do the thing. And so it's structured that way because you can't learn EMDR without doing EMDR. And I remember when I first learned, maybe like, has to be like 6 years ago, sitting with my own stuff was like, ugh, I don't like this. Um, but it made me better. It made me better. And so that's it. You have to do the thing. And also, I don't think I knew when I signed up for training that I had to bring up my own stuff. I think in my head, I could bring up a case study or some research or something. And then we got into training, and I'm like, wait, we got to talk about me? We got to talk about my stuff? Oh, okay. All right. And I remember having to make that adjustment, like, you know what? If you're gonna do this, you got to do it, okay? So that's what kind of like feelings come up for you or for some people, right? So as I watched these brilliant, experienced, and credentialed clinicians get visibly uncomfortable. And it's not because they're not smart enough. It's because they were being asked to not know something. And that's genuinely hard. So there's something about being the professional, being the person that everyone comes to for help, that makes it really difficult to sit in the seat of not knowing, to practice something imperfectly, to feel your own feelings while you're trying something new. And I love it. I love it. That's why I continue to coach and do advanced trainings for therapists and things like that. But here's what I know. That discomfort isn't a sign that something is wrong. That's actually what learning feels like. And I say that as someone who has been studying trauma and grief for years, who has certifications and trainings and a dissertation that has been downloaded in 50 countries. And I still learn new things about grief. I still learn new things about trauma. I still find myself in beginner moments. And I've had to make peace with that. I'm a beginner. It's a beginner. I don't think it's a phase that you graduate. Like, like I'm no longer a beginner of things, right? Because that's just not how it works. It's part of being alive and growing. So whoever you are, whatever you're in the middle of learning right now, whether it's a new skill, a new season of a life, a new version of yourself, this episode is for you. So y'all know I love to give y'all some takeaways. We're not just here to have a conversation. I want you to think about yourself. I want you to apply things. I want our life to be better or the best that we can. I want us to live our best life together, you and I, right? So that's what this conversation is about. So I like to give some takeaways. So we're going to get into that. Um, yeah, just really thinking about the application of when I started to do this radio show, I was like, how how do people really reset? And that's where these topics come from because I really would like you to on a Sunday afternoon when you decide to tune in and spend just like a little bit of time with me, I want to make sure it's worth it for you, and take what's helpful and leave what's not. This isn't a one size fits all thing, but I do try to take like real life experiences and turn them into lessons. And then hopefully it helps and you break away and you do things and you're a great person you know. So it's all about the growth. Okay. So the first thing I want you to take away is that discomfort actually, it means that your brain is actually working. So when you feel uncomfortable learning something new, it's not a red flag. And I don't want you to think that it is. That is your brain doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So here's the neuroscience behind that. Neuroscientist Robert York at UCLA, he spent decades studying what he calls desirable difficulties. And that idea, that conditions that the conditions that feel the hardest to learn are often the ones that produce the deepest and most lasting learning. Yeah. One of the things that the trainer I'm working with, Yanetta, likes to say is a lot of the things I learned about EMDR came from a oh shit moment. And I'm like, dang, she's right. Because every time I was thinking in my head, I'm doing something wrong, or you had that feeling, those are the best lessons I've learned that I teach others now. So it's such a great way of putting it. And so I love when she says that. When something feels easy, your brain isn't working that hard. It's running on what it already knows. When something feels hard, you're reaching, you're making mistakes, you're feeling uncertain, and your brain is building new pathways. Neuroplasticity, right? It's making new connections, it's actually changing, like physically, actually changing. So the discomfort is evidence that something real is happening. So I watched this play out in real time this week. And every time I coach a training, the therapists who were the most uncomfortable were also growing the most. They're actually in it. They're feeling the stretch. So let's think about that for a second, because a lot of us have been avoiding the discomfort, thinking that we're protecting ourselves. Yeah. But sometimes what we're actually doing is protecting ourselves from growth. And do we really want to do that? I mean, we may think if we're in a moment of discomfort that we don't want to grow because that's uncomfortable. But in the bigger picture, usually growth is what we're trying to achieve. So here's a quick everyday example from life. You start a new job, everything feels hard. You feel like you should know more than you do. You compare yourself to people who have been doing it for years. The discomfort isn't evidence that you made a wrong choice. That is your brain building the map that you are going to need. So don't let your brain bully you. Your brain says, this is too hard. You're not cut out for this. Everyone else seems to get it faster than you do. Your brain's lying, okay? It's just new. New feels hard. That is that is biology, not a verdict. So here's the takeaway from this one. This week, when you hit a moment of discomfort in something that you're learning or trying, instead of treating it like a stop sign, ask yourself, what is my brain building right now? If you think of a stoplight, you got your red, yellow, and your green. Think of it as a yellow light. I just need to observe this information and then maybe go or then maybe stop. I don't know, right? That's something you all have to determine. But take it as a yellow light. What's happening? What's my brain building right now? Let your brain answer the question. And that's one question that shifts the whole thing. Discomfort isn't the obstacle, it is the process. And then let's see what you do with that. Okay. My second takeaway is that you have to feel it to heal it. That one's personal to me. You have to feel it to heal it. I say that all the time. It sounds like something that should go on a coffee mug and stay with me. But in the training room this week, one of the most common things I noticed was us therapists trying to stay in our heads while doing the work, processing intellectually, talking about the feeling instead of actually feeling it. And I noticed that even in myself, when I do my own work, I do that. I stay, very logical rather than like feeling the feeling. And sometimes it's like confusing to even like, how do I even feel the feeling? And usually it's in your body, and I understand that it's safer up there. In your head, you can analyze, you can categorize, you can keep some distance from whatever's actually happening in your body. But here's the thing about trauma and grief specifically. It's backed by decades of research, including Bessel van der Kolk, whose book is The Body Keeps the Score. And I hope I said his name right. But he changed how, trauma is understood along with others. Y'all don't come for me as far as like all the trauma books. This is just one I picked, okay? Because there's a lot of them that are really great. This one's well known, so it just popped in my head. Um, but your nervous system doesn't speak in thoughts. It speaks in sensations in the body. And it's like the felt experience, which means you can talk about something for years and still not process it because processing is not understanding, it's feeling. So feelings are vulnerable, right? And it requires you to actually be in your body instead of like hovering above it, with a clipboard of like, here's what I'm feeling. Um, so I've been studying grief since before I lost my daughter. And I had, all the frameworks and the language and the research. And when she died, none of that protected me from actually having to feel it. There was no way around it, only through it. And I believe that is what the work that I've done, and trust me, there's been a lot of work over the years, okay, allows me to be able to talk to you about it. It allows me to be able to connect the dots for other people and just be a little bit vulnerable on my show so that it can help another person. So, research from psychologist James, what's his last name? Penny Baker, at the University of Texas. He found that people who allow themselves to actually feel and express difficult emotions, not just think about them, but like show measurable improvements in like the mental and physical health. So when they're able to actually feel it and express it, it's the same thing as I believe it was Dan Siegel who said, name it to tame it, like being able to name what you're going through. So yeah, feeling isn't weakness. It's actually access. And I know some people are listening right now and they're very good at knowing things and analyzing and understanding. But you might have some feelings that you've been sitting in the waiting room for a little while. Don't let your brain bully you into staying into your head forever. Here's your takeaway from this one. This week, when a feeling shows up and you normally push past it or explain it away or just let it be there for 60 seconds. Not forever. 60 seconds. Name it. Feel it. Let it move. That's where the healing actually starts. And somebody will say, but I might cry. Have you ever cried and never stopped? No, you have not. Every single person in this world who has started crying has stopped, right? At some point. So you may need a little space to do that type of work. And then, of course, you can always get a therapist to help you do that type of work. So, um, my takeaway, going back to that, number two is to name it, feel it, let it move. That's where healing starts. We don't got to stay there. Name it, feel it, let it move. Okay. Third takeaway. Showing up imperfectly actually still counts. Okay? This might be the one people need the most. I don't know. But showing up imperfectly still counts. I landed in Biloxi at like 2 in the morning. Then I got to the hotel like 2:30, tired, running on not enough sleep. Still had to walk into the training room and be my best self. Not my sharpest, but my best self. Not my most polished, but I showed up. And something special happened anyway, right? Like it's the presence here, the imperfect presence. It's still presence. Um, it- we people cared and said, "You make sure you get some rest today," but I was there and I did show up as my best self. So the therapist in that room who struggled, who made mistakes, or what maybe even perceived mistakes, not even real mistakes, in their practice sessions, or who felt like embarrassed or uncertain, they still learned because they were there. They were trying. They were willing to be beginners. So that willingness matters more than performance. So research from psychologist Carol Dweck, Dweck, um, whose work on growth mindset has been replicated across dozens of studies. And it shows that the belief, that ability that comes from effort consistently predicts better outcomes than the belief that you either have it or you don't. So the people who believe imperfect effort counts keep going. The people who think it only counts when it's perfect, they stop trying and it gets hard. And I've been in that thought loop before that, if it's not perfect, I can't start. How many entrepreneurs experience that? How many transitioning people figure it out they stop because they don't have it all figured out. So think about that. And stopping is the only way to guarantee that you won't get there. So here's what I want you to hear. The imperfect attempt is not the consolation prize. It's the actual path. You don't have to feel confident to show up. You don't have to have it all figured out to take that next step. You just have to show up. 2:30 in the morning arrivals and all. I was watching Kelsey, who was rowing from California to Hawaii. And one of her clips, I got sucked into her story. It was very inspiring. So I don't know if you all did or not, but I was watching her and she said, you may not feel, and I don't know, this ain't an exact quote. Go back and watch her videos if you want the exact quote. But what I took away from what she said was, like, she said, like, you may not be strong enough to like think about the whole mission or complete it, but you are strong enough to take that first step. So I was like, okay, girl. She really she said it better than I just did. So but that's what I took away from it. Like you may not be strong enough to think about how you're gonna finish from California to Hawaii, but you are strong enough to start and see what happens, you know. So I don't know, she just popped in my head as I'm thinking about this, but don't let your brain bully you into thinking that it only counts when it's perfect, because it's not true. It counts you just showing up today. The attempt counts. The willingness to feel something uncomfortable counts. The decision to keep learning when it's hard, yes, it counts. All of it. So here's your takeaway from this one. This week, show up imperfectly for one thing. Not halfway, but imperfectly. Halfway is holding back. Imperfect is giving what you have, even when what you have isn't everything. So give what you have. That's enough. For example, I have to check out of my hotel room at 11 o'clock, and they told me I could not extend And my plan was I was going to extend, do my radio show, and then check out. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to use what I have. I have my space right now. I'm going to pre-record my episode so I don't have to stress about where am I going to go at 11 Central Time because my show was at 12 Eastern Time. So instead of doing all of that mental gymnastics, I was like, I'm gonna do a pre-record. Let me take a 30-minute break and go ahead and get this done because it's important to me to show up for whoever's listening. So I hope that you take away, something from today, the three things from today. Discomfort means that your brain is actually working. When it feels hard, ask yourself what your brain is building right now. You have to feel it to heal it. Let the feeling be there for 30 seconds, 60 seconds. What did I say? 60 seconds. I said 60. 60 seconds. Name it, feel it, let it move. If you only got 30 seconds, that's fine. I'm gonna say 60 though, because I think you got it in you. Feel it or name it, feel it, move it. Let it move. Okay. And then showing up imperfectly still counts. So give it what you have. That's enough. Being a beginner is something that you isn't something that you graduate from. It's something that you get better at tolerating. Okay. And eventually, if you're lucky, something you, if you're lucky, something you start to get a little curious about is like, am I tolerating this better? Because every time you're a beginner at something, you are proof that you haven't stopped growing. And I think that's great. I want that for you. I want that for myself too. What my wish is that I never outgrow my curiosity because I mean, I'm curious about a lot of things, but also I really just want to keep growing. Until the day I die, I want to keep growing. So everything that I do is at bio.ariellenjordan.com. My clinical work, my EMDR trainings that I usually will help coach with, like this one that I flew out to Mississippi to help coach. There's another coming up in August that's virtual for any clinicians that want to get trained in EMDR. And also the Jordan Effect, which is my nonprofit focused on mental health support for veterans, first responders, caregivers, spouses, anybody that serves us, our community of veterans. So take care of yourself this week. Be a beginner somewhere. Feel something. Show up anyway. Resilience is not optional. It's the mission. I'm Dr. J, and you got this. This is the reset with Dr. J, where we take those WTF moments, we turn them into breakthroughs, okay? Catch some of the other shows on WTF Nation Radio. Pretty much any day of the week, you can find something. If you're not sure what you like, drop in to any of them and just kind of figure out what you like and really support those people out here doing great things. They are very supportive of me. I want to be very supportive of them. So check out WTF Nation Radio and all the shows that they have. And I just hope y'all have a wonderful week, and I will see y'all next Sunday.